do you balance being the loyal opposition and doing what the loyal opposition has always done in American politics, but also recognizing the results of the last election and understanding that you two represent two of the only states between the coasts where Republicans didn't sweep to victory by pretty convincing margins?
Well, look, President-elect Trump won the election. We're going to work with him and his administration however we can for our state, whether it's the U.S. Forest Service managing our public lands, whether it's working to make sure that our priorities are met and funding transportation and transit. And we look forward to that relationship. At the same time, I think it's very important that we double down on defending our small d democratic institutions, making sure that elections in the future, decisions of the courts, the rule of law, continue across administrations, Republican and Democratic. So we're always going to have our agreements and disagreements in the moment, but I think it's also important to take a step back and say, let's make sure that the America we cherish and that we love is as strong as ever on our 250th birthday in 2 years.
All right, Democratic governors. Go ahead, Governor Pritzker.
Sorry, I just wanted to add that you know, Joe mentioned loyal opposition. We are loyal. We are loyal to the Constitution and are loyal to the people of our states. And so this isn't about, you know, creating some massive divide. Indeed, this is just about responding to concerns that governors will have about dealing with what seems to be an onslaught from the new administration.
Appreciate that. Democratic governors J.B. Pritzker of Illinois and Jared Polis of Colorado. Thank you both very much.
But October 7th would have never happened. They never, ever would have been attacked. But it is what it is, and this horrible thing happened. And what I said very plainly is get it over with and let's get back to peace and stop killing people. And that's a very simple statement. Get it over with. They got to finish what they finished. They have to get it done. Get it over with and get it over with fast, because you have to get back to normalcy and peace.
One of the many times Donald Trump has claimed the October 7th attacks against Israel would have never happened if he were president. And joining us now from Tel Aviv is NBC News international correspondent Raf Sanchez. Raf, you're taking a closer look at what a second Trump term might mean for the Middle East. Tell us about it.
Yeah, Mika, it is sometimes said that personnel is policy, and we are getting a sense of Donald Trump's Middle East policy from the very pro-Israel people that he is putting into key positions at the State Department, at the Pentagon, and of course appointing former Arkansas Governor Mike Huckabee as the new U.S. ambassador to Israel. This is a man who has said there is no such thing as a Palestinian, who has celebrated Israeli settlements in the occupied West Bank. These are appointments that are being cheered on by the Israeli right, but there is an awareness here that Donald Trump is highly unpredictable and that the policy will depend on decisions made by him and by Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu.
In a Middle East already on fire after more than a year of war, an urgent new question. Will a second-term Donald Trump help put out the flames or pour gasoline on them? The answer may depend on his complicated relationship with Benjamin Netanyahu. The Israeli Prime Minister thrilled at Trump's victory, hailing it as history's greatest comeback, and says he's spoken to Trump at least 3 times since the election, reportedly more than any other world leader. Now he's hoping to restore the warmth of Trump's first term, when the U.S. handed him win after win, moving the embassy to Jerusalem, pulling out of the Iran nuclear deal, and brokering the Abraham Accords peace agreement. But exactly 4 years ago, while Trump was still claiming to have won the 2020 election, Netanyahu offered his congratulations to Joe Biden. That enraged Trump, who said this to Israeli journalist Barak Ravid.
I still like Bibi, but I also like loyalty. F*** 'em.
Since then, bygones. Trump supporting both Israel and Netanyahu since October 7th. Many believe he'll give Israel a free hand to step up the war in Gaza, throwing off the few restraints imposed by Biden.
This is on the occasion of Donald Trump's presidency. God bless America. God bless Israel. Woo!
But Trump also voicing impatience as the war drags on.
Get your victory and get it over with. It has to stop. The killing has to stop.
Palestinians in the ruins of Gaza tell our team they can only hope he means it.
I hope he will be honest and bring peace here in Gaza, because we need it after a 1 year full of war.
While the families of U.S. hostages pleading with Biden and Trump to work together towards a deal.
We have asked the president and his senior staff, as well as the incoming administration, to begin work immediately together.
Michael Oren is Israel's former ambassador to Washington.
If you're going to deal with Donald Trump, you got to deal with him very straight. You can't play with him, and you got to play by his rules, not by Israel's rules.
If he were to tell Prime Minister Netanyahu ends the war in Gaza now, would Netanyahu have any choice but to comply?
He would do his best to try to meet it. The question is how the war ends.
Another question, Iran. Its decade-long shadow war with Israel now an open conflict. If Israel strikes Iran's nuclear facilities, that could drag the U.S. to war, pitting Trump's apparent pro-Israel instincts against his promises for peace.
They said he will start a war. I'm not going to start a war. I'm going to stop wars.
Netanyahu says he and Trump see eye to eye on Iran, and the political parallels between the two are almost uncanny. Both are sons of privilege who fashion themselves as champions of working people. Both charged with crimes allegedly committed while in office, and yet still swept back to power in stunning comebacks. And both keenly aware of the theatricality of politics. In 2019, Netanyahu thanking Trump by naming a settlement in the Golan Heights after him.
5 years on from that ceremony, the sign is a little faded, and the town itself isn't exactly Mar-a-Lago.
Trump Heights is home to around 30 families, most in temporary houses until their real homes overlooking Lebanon are built. Hodea Goldberg came here with her husband and 4 children.
We came here for the quiet and green spaces and for the kids, to run from house to house freely.
How did you feel moving to a place named after someone as controversial as Donald Trump?
Yeah, this is the first question I get when I said, where do I live? It's just a town with great people and great view. We are from different backgrounds, from very, different views and opinions, but this is not what defines us.
Now, 4 more years of Trump for this place and the broader Middle East.
Now, the prospects of a ceasefire in Gaza are looking pretty bleak right now. There isn't much indication that either Hamas or Netanyahu wants a deal. There is more optimism here about a ceasefire to end the fighting in Lebanon. An Israeli official tells me they think that that is highly possible, either in the final weeks of the Biden administration or potentially in the opening of Donald Trump's next term, a quick diplomatic victory from Israel to the new president. Mika.
NBC's Raf Sanchez reporting live from Tel Aviv. Thank you very much for your reporting. Katty Kay, your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think the longer term question is how much of a relationship Donald Trump manages to forge with the Saudis. We know, David Ignatius, that one area where he would like to have expanded, and the Biden administration would have liked to have expanded the Abraham Accords, was to bring the Saudis in. But the Saudis, since October the 7th, have said there has to be some pathway to Palestinian security and a Palestinian state. How does Donald Trump's re-election shuffle that particular bit of the puzzle?
So I'm told that the Saudis remain as interested in normalization with Israel as a year ago, when it seemed very close before the October 7 attack, and that Trump would like to see this big deal. He contemplated Saudi normalization as part of the Abraham Accords in the beginning. He's going to have to find a formula that will be acceptable to the Saudis that speaks of Palestinian sovereignty or a pathway forward, some language that Netanyahu can accept. It may break his coalition, but I think Netanyahu wants this achievement badly. Another big issue that's looming is that Netanyahu's right-wing supporters think Trump's victory means it will be possible now to annex the West Bank. Mike Huckabee has made statements suggesting that he might support that. If that policy is advanced, any hopes of Saudi normalization, good relations with Jordan go out the window. That will be a genuinely destabilizing move.
Well, Sam, let's bring you in on that very point, this idea that a Trump victory emboldens potentially Netanyahu, not only just to stay in power himself, but to go further, to eye the West Bank, to abandon any sort of ceasefire talk. What's your sense as to how this could play out?
Well, two things here. One is, I think, the Trump victory, and honestly, Netanyahu's survival politically is a indication to any world leader who is facing scandal that if you just wait it out, if you just plow forward, there is a likelihood that you will survive, politically speaking. In terms of the policy elements here, yeah, there's nothing that indicates that Trump or Mike Huckabee or anyone in this administration that's being constructed will say to Israel, actually, no, back off a little bit. The settlements in the West Bank are provocative, or the human suffering, the humanitarian situation in Gaza is too much to bear. I think, in fact, they'll give them the green light. Trump said he'll give them the green light for a period of time. I don't think it's indefinite. I think their standpoint is let Israel do what it wants to do and then get it over with and then cut some sort of deal to end the war. What that means in terms of on the ground, I don't know. But it is notable that domestically here, some of the pro-Palestinian forces who were so skeptical of the Harris-Biden administration and withheld their votes are already expressing disappointment with the appointees that Trump has put on his foreign policy team. And you have to say, well, were you not paying attention? This is exactly what they are advertised, and it's exactly what they're doing.
Yeah. Sam Stein, thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Coming up, our next guest writes that if you're sure how the next 4 years will play out, I promise you're wrong. Adam Grant, a psychologist at the Wharton School at the University of Pennsylvania, joins us next to explain what he means. Morning Joe, we'll be right back.
Do you like blasting things? Do you like racing things? Do you like painting things? What about puzzle things? Hey, let's go! Do you like scary things? What about just enjoying the view? It's so beautiful! You can do all of these things and more in Rec Room. Join the fun for free.
Finally, a gorgeous sofa that I can actually keep clean. This couch is not only beautiful, but it is completely machine washable. So no more having to worry about those dirty feet or spills on the couch. Also, it is completely modular. You can rearrange your living room anytime you want to. If you are not completely in love with the sofa, Anabay does completely full refunds. Kids, pets, spills, no problem. Take my word for it, you need the Anabay washable sofa.
Being good at video games was part of the social currency of the moment.
The first time I saw the Rodney King video, it felt surreal.
Generation X, born between 1965 and 1980.
I could be dead in a ditch somewhere and my parents wouldn't know.
That's so Gen X.
One thing about healthcare is that this is one sector, one of the few sectors which marries business success and societal impact. When you're successful as a business, you really have a good impact on society. So having started Health Hero less than 5 years back and built a business which is now a leader, delivering 5 million consultations, which makes us the largest primary care provider, digital or traditional, in Europe. I never pretend that we are not for profit, and I'm very proud of that. But if we make a good business, means we make good profits, also means that we're driving societal impact and change, which is very healthy. Because healthcare as a sector is struggling across Europe, if not across the world. And if we can make that better, it helps everyone.
Go beyond the headlines with the MSNBC app. Read, listen, and watch live breaking news and analysis anytime, anywhere. Go beyond the what to understand the why. Download the MSNBC app now.